Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the Colourpop Baroque collection. This is 1/3 of their Von Fresco collection. As you can tell, I've clearly been on YouTube and Google trying to figure out how to pronounce these names. There was a little bit of debate on how to pronounce Baroque correctly on the comment section of the YouTube video that I watched, so hopefully Baroque is the correct way. Let me know down below. I'm just expanding my vocab doing all of these makeup reviews. So yeah, Colourpop did send me the Baroque collection. They didn't send me the entire collection, but I'm glad that they sent me this one because I feel like out of the three, this one is the most unique. But yeah, I'm just gonna chat about the Baroque collection. I'll share my thoughts on everything, swatches, comparisons, 3 looks, all of that. So if you guys are curious to hear my thoughts, then please continue watching. Alright, so the Von Fresco collection consists of 3 9-pan palettes. I'll insert some photos of the other 2 here. And like I mentioned in the intro, I feel like the one that I got sent, Baroque, does seem the most unique. So we have one that is more on the red side and very warm, and then one's a little bit more neutral. But yeah, that's pretty much the Von Fresco collection. There are 3 palettes and every palette has a pressed blush and a luxe lip duo to match along with that. So there's sort of 3 little collections in one bigger collection, if that makes sense. So let's first talk about the Baroque. I'm gonna keep saying Baroque so it can get into my head. This is $14 US. It's in their cardboard packaging, and when you open this up you will see 9 beautiful gray and navy shadows. And when I first saw the shadow, I was like, okay, this is a unique one because Colourpop doesn't have like a navy palette. And now that I played around with the palette, I'm sort of mixed. I have like mixed feelings about it. So while I did my first look, I was like, okay, this is very, very similar to their Blowing Smoke palette. Probably 4 out of 9 shadows in the Baroque palette is very similar, almost dupeable from the Blowing Smoke palette. But what makes this palette a little bit more unique are the 2 duochromes and also the darker like navy sort of plummy matte shadows. That was sort of hard to find comparisons for. But then also in saying that, I do love the duochromes, but I feel like the 2 duochromes, although the pan, Ritzy looks a little bit lighter, Noble looks a little bit darker, once it's on the eyes, they reflect very, very similar. I'm currently wearing Noble on my eyes today, which I love, but I also think Noble, this kind of duochrome, I feel like it's quite popular. It's a very popular duochrome flip. I think MAC used to have one, I don't even know what it's called, but it was like the most popular reflect that MAC used to have, and obviously I don't use MAC anymore. I do feel like this is a very common duochrome to have, and nonetheless, it is very pretty and quite unique. I didn't find such a strong comparison within Colourpop, but I think with other brands you could easily find something very comparable. But nonetheless, like, I do think it's really pretty, but I think these 2 are just too similar. I wish they would have maybe did something else, like maybe a lighter duochrome or like a silvery inner corner highlight, because I feel like that was missing. But I think overall the concept I really do like, and I think if you don't have Blowing Smoke, then I think this would be a really unique addition to your collection. So if you were to ask me Blowing Smoke or Baroque, I would say Baroque is probably a little bit more, I guess, approachable. Even though both palettes are going to give you very, very glam looks, I feel like with the Blowing Smoke, it is black and white. It's like black, white, and gray. This one has navies, which is a little bit softer in a way. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. This really does give me holiday vibes. I don't know, when I think of holiday, maybe like New Year's. It gives me very New Year's, like this is like a New Year's makeup look. Like back in the day, maybe in like 2012, 13, when people were doing makeup tutorials, this would be like 2021 New Year's Eve makeup look. This is like the kind of look I think of for New Year's Eve. And then next in the collection, we have one of their pressed blushes. This is in the shade Vogue. So this is the matching blush to the Baroque palette. It does have a flower imprint in there, which is really, really pretty. This blush, it's the blush I'm currently wearing on my cheeks right now. I think it does pair really well with the palette. Like typically with a palette like this that's more on the cool tone side and very dark and dramatic, I typically would grab a blush like this to pair along with it. This one has more of like a cool tone mauve undertone to it. I will say that the blush and also the lip duo, which I'm going to be talking about soon, they're very comparable to the Making Mauve's blush and lip products in that collection, which I will of course put the comparisons here for you guys. So if you did pick up the Making Mauve's collection, then maybe skip out on the blush and the lip products from this collection because they are very, very similar. I haven't worn it with other eye looks other than the looks that I did with this collection. Maybe like a pink or neutral eye, I think I could see this blush working more, but I was only able to wear it with this collection. But yeah, I do like it. I'm gonna keep it in my top drawer for a little bit just so I can, you know, continue playing with it. It works well. It's really pretty shade, but I do feel like you might already have something similar. And then we have the Luxe Lip Duo in the shade Contessa. This is $15 US. So the Luxe Gloss shade is Panache and the Luxe Velvet Liquid Lipstick is in the shade Fatale. And I am wearing a combo of the two today. But again, like I mentioned before, I feel like the gloss is very comparable to the gloss from the Making Mauve collection. I would say this one's a little bit like more pinky and a lighter, and it has more glitters in it. Like when you apply the liquid lipstick, it's a little bit darker, and then you go into the gloss, it's a little bit lighter, so it gives you like a very, very slight gradient lip. One, I would say I already have some similar shades in my collection from the Velvet Luxe line that it's not too unique into my collection, but I do think it's a very pretty one. But yeah, you guys, that is pretty much my rundown on the Baroque collection. I did really enjoy everything. I would say that the blush and the lip products wasn't really anything new into my collection since I already had something very, very similar. But again, I do have a fairly big collection when it comes to Colourpop especially. But if I didn't have the Making Mauve's collection, I don't think I would have had anything like this. For the Baroque, I'm still like 50-50 on it. I do think it is pretty unique into my collection, but then I also don't think it is because I do have Blowing Smokes. But it was a very enjoyable palette to use, and whenever I need navy gray tones, I will always think of this one. So hopefully you guys found the review, the swatches, and the comparisons a little bit helpful. We can now move into the 3 looks. For the first look, we're going to start off with the shade Secret, and I'm going to take this on an angled brush and I'm going to start mapping out my very, very dramatic wing. So I am doing my eyes first, so if you are going to follow along, I would suggest doing your eyes first. That way you can clean up the wing, and if you do a mistake, you can always just rub it off and start over. I think it's just less pressure when you're doing something so dramatic to do your eyes first. So I would recommend that, but you can see here that I am just mapping out my wing. I do extend my wing pretty far out. Then I'm going to go into the shade Stunner, and I'm going to be taking a smaller angled brush, and I'm going to be more precise with my wing with this darker shadow. So you can see I'm lining my eyes and creating a more dramatic wing and just going back and forth with my brushes to really get the shadows blended into each other, because we want to see this sort of like soft gradient smoky effect. Then I'm going to take the shade Bougie, and I'm going to place this at the inner third of my eyes just to create a little bit more dimension and highlight. I'm going to sort of make like a soft cut crease. Then I'm actually going to go back into the shade Stunner, and I'm slowly going to start creating a little fake inner corner. I am not good at this technique. The way my eye is shaped, I feel like it's really hard to pull off this type of fake inner corner look, but I feel like with the extreme cat eye, just doing a fake inner corner really extends your eye and completes the look. So it's hard to explain what I really do. I will leave it up to you just to see and look what I'm doing. If I could change it, I probably would have made it thinner, but I always get a little bit carried away. And now I'm just taking my black liquid liner. I'm going to use this to line a very, very fine line on my lash line and also a little wing, because I will go in with a black eyeshadow just to define the lash line ever so slightly. And then I'm gonna go back into the shade Stunner. I'm gonna first place this at the outer third of my lower lash line, and as you can see, I did go off camera and do my base. So I do take this on the same angled brush, and I'm gonna start packing this on at the outer corner of my eyes and making sure I am connecting the wing together, so that way the whole look can come together as one. I also take some of the eyeshadow right at the inner corners of my eyes. That way that fake inner corner can also connect to the eye look as well. And I do take the creme gel liner in the shade dtla, and I use that to tightline pretty much my entire bottom waterline as well. And this, you guys, is the first look completed. We started off super glam. I did pop on lashes. These ones are from House of Lashes in the style Natalia Light. And I did pop these little rhinestone gems right at the inner corner at the point of my new fake inner corners. And I also used the blush and also the Luxe lipstick duo as well. But I'll leave all that info in my description box as always. Alright, so now jumping into the second look, I'm gonna start off with the shade BB, and I'm going to use this sort of as my transition shadow, but I'm going to stamp this on my lid space first, and then I'll slowly start blending that into my crease area. It's just that the shadow is quite dark to be like the initial transition, so I do want to keep it a little bit lower and then slowly blend that up, just because it's a little bit darker, and I feel like that way I'm getting more of like a smoother blend. But I also take the same shadow onto my lower lash line as well. I'm going to run this through all over my lower lash, right from the outer corner to the inner corner. Then I'm going to take the shade Grand, and I'm going to start focusing this at the outer corners of my eyes, just using circular motions and mainly just focusing that product there. I will also take it into my inner third as well, using a pencil brush to get right in the nook of my inner corners, and then going back in with my blending brush to blend that out. And you just want to sort of focus this at the outer corners and the inner third. You can just pack it on all over your lid if you like, it doesn't really matter, but I'm just going to focus it at the outer third and inner corners of my lid space. I also take this on a defining brush, and I'm going to press this up against my waterline. And now, just taking the shadow Ritzy, I'm going to apply this directly at the center of my lid space. I'm going to pack on the most pigmentation at the center, because that's where I want the most pigment to shine and where I want the light to catch. And then I'll slowly blend that out around the crease area and also towards the matte shadows, so that way it does blend in to the eye look and it doesn't look like one stripe down your eyes. Now I am taking my black liquid liner, and you guys know the drill. I'm going to use this to line my lash line and also create a wing. I do go in with a separate matte black eyeshadow to smudge and smoke out my wing. I do use the creme gel liner from Colourpop in the shade Hustler in my bottom waterline, but I don't really like this eyeliner either because it has a lot of chunky glitters in it. But lastly, we're just gonna pop on our lashes. I am wearing the style Honey from Petite Cosmetics. Alright you guys, so this is the second look completed. What do you guys think? I think that duochrome really took me by surprise, and I actually really love how unique of a blue it is. So I really love spotlighting that shadow, and I do love the final outcome. It is very grungy and very smoky, so I hope you guys enjoyed this second look. Alright, now onto the final look. I'm gonna start off with the shade Etiquette, and this is going to be sort of our transition shadow. I'm first gonna work this at the outer corners of my eyes, and then I'll slowly blend that in towards the middle. But because Etiquette is more of like a darker shadow, it's pretty intense to like hop right into it. So you just want to take your time at blending this out, and also just take a little bit on your brush. I also take Etiquette onto my lower lash line as well. I'm just going to sweep that from the outer corner right to the inner corner. And now I am taking the shade Lounge. I'm going to be doing exactly the same thing, but I'm going to focus this more at the outer third and not so much bring it towards the middle of my lid. I want the outer corners to be super dark, so taking Lounge is going to help achieve that dark outer corner. And again, I do take a Lounge onto my lower lash line, but I'm only going to press this up against my waterline at the outer third. And then taking the shade Noble, I'm going to start packing this on at the inner third of my lid space. This is such a stunning duochrome, and I do blend that up towards my crease area, but I'm gonna like diffuse it out. I don't want it to be so harsh. I really want this to really blend into the matte shadows. And now I am taking my black liquid liner. I'm going to use this to line my lash line and also create a wing. I do go in with a black eyeshadow to sort of smudge and extend my wing out. And then I will take the creme gel liner in the shade dtla. I'm going to use this to line my bottom waterline. And then lastly, popping on my false lashes, I'm wearing Honey from Petite Cosmetics. And this, you guys, is the final look completed. I think this one would have to be my favorite out of the three. The navy tones I'm just living for, especially paired with the contacts that I'm wearing. So I really loved how this final look turned out, and I hope you guys love it too. And that, you guys, was my three looks. What do you guys think? Let me know which look out of the three was your favorite down below. Also, if you guys did enjoy this video, I would appreciate it so much if you could give it a thumbs up for me. It does help me out and my channel and my videos. But with that being said, you guys, that is going to conclude today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!